Fringy, can I make an edit of this conversation for this stream? Yeah. I figure that's cool with me, really. I was kind of half joking about making an edit at some point myself, but I'm still making plans for what's gonna happen with, like, not full archives of streams, but highlights potentially at some point. We'll get to that at some point. After I finish making the next video, maybe we'll start thinking about that, or after Crash 4. If you're planning to do it, I'll leave it to you. Oh, no, you should feel free to do it. Like, it's not a major plan at the moment.
What I was trying to say before it disconnected was, Krypton dies because they harvested its core for energy.
Yeah.
Right? Which is pretty fucking stupid. And, what's his name? Jor-El is like, yo, bad idea. And then it opens with him saying, I fucking told you guys this is a bad idea. And their response is, what would you have us do?
Like, I don't know, man. It's better than dying. I don't know.
Not detonate yourselves is probably a good idea. And so, Jor-El's suggestion is look to the stars. There are inhabitable worlds within our
Can you
reach.
understand how bad these spawns are? But yeah, continue.
There are inhabitable worlds within our reach.
No. Worlds, more than one.
And we can begin by using the old outposts.
Oh, but I thought they're all dead.
Response, are you suggesting we evacuate the entire planet? It's like,
yeah.
As opposed to everyone dying? Sure.
As opposed to death. Yeah, it probably is a good idea. God, I didn't even remember that. They had inhabitable planets they could flee to?
Worlds.
Yeah, that's the thing. More than one. Within their reach.
So why didn't we inhabit any of the other ones other than Earth?
Why did they only have colonies? Why didn't they have like worlds, you know, that were just totally habitable? Damn.
Yeah, the fucking council, like, wow. Just wow.
I do love that.
I love this defeatist attitude of, why can't we just die? Why do we have to survive? It's like, oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I like living. Do you?
And I think that, there is no fucking logic to destroying Earth to make a new Krypton. It's like, just live on this one.
Yeah, it gives you superpowers.
Like, why would you... like, it's... I don't understand it. Not even a little bit.
What if the planets were all gas giants? No, the operative word is that they are all inhabitable. Habitable worlds within reach. That it's over at that point.
Is the reasonable thing for there to be. If you're expanding to the point where you've discovered Earth, it's like you've probably discovered another Earth.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't you all go to Earth?
Well, absolutely, yeah. If they come to Earth in peace, which this council seems to be invested in, just like, yeah, we're refugees from a planet that exploded. Can Earth welcome us, and in exchange we will share our technology, that sort of shit?
Yeah, goddamn. Because clearly your technology's good enough if you can get to other worlds. I mean, that's the fundamental thing. If you have the technology to get to other worlds, you are not pro-scarcity, but...
too.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, on Earth you'll be considered an outcast or different or whatever, but you'll be strong.
They understand enough about Earth and the people who live there and the fact that they're human, like.
They understand enough about Earth that if I was on Krypton, I'd be like, I kind of want to go to that Earth place.
Yeah, let's go there. Like, it's nicer than here too. It's green.
Not only do they have better movies than we do, but I get to be super powerful and I can just blend in.
Yeah.
Get to other worlds, sure, and cross 20 fucking galaxies. Yeah, they can do it.
And also, it's pretty heavily implied that Krypton is in, like, the Milky Way.
Like, I don't even know why you would bother arguing that it's really far away. It's
yeah,
like,
it's better than dead. Better than dead as well.
Better than dead every time.
And plus, Superman got there while he was still a baby, so clearly it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, they got there pretty quick.
It's a really bad movie, guys.
More, the problem with your analysis of Man of Steel so far is that it's basically the battle of headcanon, which is something we shouldn't do. Unless given actual contradictions, it isn't a problem. The colonies could have died off for a million reasons.
All of them?
Habitable world within reach.
Yeah.
That's what Zod said. So, sorry, no, that's what Jor-El said. So we've already got all of Krypton is a fucking dumbass. That's a major criticism, okay? Like, the Council have to be incredibly stupid not to have decided to move Krypton to another planet when they could have, instead of accepting explosions.
Yeah, it's better than dying. I think that's the important part, guys.
Secondly, the idea that they went to all of these old, like how is it that these outposts die without Krypton, unless Krypton is regularly sending shipments to them through travel?
In which case
why
send
the fuck
people
aren't
there.
you guys on the? Why aren't you on the inhabitable planets instead of these weird outposts on dead planets?
And especially when we know that Krypton is devoid of resources and also just not a very hospitable place to begin with. Why haven't you left already?
And then Zod gaining powers fast could just be how his biology works. Unless you give me actual contradictions, these are non-problems. I didn't say that Zod gaining powers fast means that anything's broken. What we said was that means that they should be happy with having the Kryptonians live on Earth. There's no reason to fucking terraform
Oh, well,
it.
one of the points I was making
that?
is Superman, it took him years seemingly to develop his powers. Zod got him in a day.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, deal with all them. Good luck. Man of Steel is garbage, I'm sorry.
Mauler, if we have a colony on Mars, it means we made it habitable. No, it doesn't. Habitable means, like, you can live on it without needing to live in it, like, pressurized.
Yeah, it doesn't really count if you're calling it habitable when you can't live there without additional resources from a different planet. That's not really what I would assume habitable means.
Yeah, like, Mars is habitable because we have a dome on it. It's like, no, it's still uninhabitable. We just have people living there.
That's why you gotta terraform it. That's the
habitable has very specific, like, meanings when we're talking about planets.
Like Spasmaticus, what do you think Earth is to the Kryptonians? It is habitable. Oh, dude. As for the Council being prideful and stupid, that's not a problem. Leaders can be prideful. It's like, fuck off. Leaders so prideful they'll kill themselves and their entire planet. It's like, okay.
For pride. They care more about pride than living, I guess.
Motherfucker, please realize that you're making the argument like, you know, Hux, that's just his character. He's a fucking idiot. You're like, right, okay. Come on, man. Like, I'm getting a strong sense right now that you might be someone who's like, you know what? Man of Steel? Kinda perfect. And I know that he's gonna be like, I never said that. So please understand the word like. It means it's not is. Okay.
You've upset Mauler.
This is the beginning of an arc. People defending the fucking shitty Snyder movies is gonna annoy me. Imagine someone said to you, like, Fringy, dude, the moon is habitable. You'd be like, wait, what? How? They go, we've got a dome on there.
I like the idea the moon is habitable. Really How? Habitable. Because they landed on the moon, the Apollo 11 mission, the lunar module. You could live in that for a little bit.
Yeah, this is the most useless fucking definition of habitable I've ever heard.
If this is what our definition of habitable is, yeah, this is not a good definition.
And besides, Earth counts as one of them, and you like basically you have to headcanon it that Jor-El meant there's about a couple planets, one of them being Earth is the super habitable one. The rest of them were only partially habitable, and only if Krypton survives. That's not what he meant, because he was fucking talking about abandoning Krypton.
Yeah, because if you're that's the end of that conversation. He was talking about leaving Krypton. If you need Krypton to keep those places habitable, then they aren't an actual real alternative. And he was saying it as though they were. So, yeah, you're...
Mauler, Earth is barely habitable. Go live off the land without your house or clip. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you insane? Earth is barely habitable? You're now conflating survivability with habitability. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Jesus Christ, man. Earth is barely habitable. What the fuck are you talking about?
Earth is very habitable. That's why we're alive. We can breathe and drink
I love
water.
he's appealing to the whole, oh yeah, you wouldn't go out into the woods and survive. It's like,
Yeah,
that is
but
not what we're talking about.
But here's the difference. If I went into the woods, I might survive. If I went out into the middle of Mars, I will die, like, very quickly.
That's a Goodell quote. We can't do Goodell quotes in non-canon. Like, it has to be an EFAP episode.
Just remember that for when efap starts up again next.
Oh, dude, I'll make a note. Like, some people are defending Man of Steel so hard they'll argue Earth isn't habitable.
Earth isn't habitable. That's a new one.
Because if you walk into the woods, you'll die. It's like, okay. Fucking go look at the what's that channel where they make everything from scratch in the woods, like with just like a loincloth. I can't remember what it's called, but it's an awesome channel. Yeah, like FYI, if all of humanity was dropped into the, like, everything was removed from Earth all the way back to, like, you know, basically reverse Earth by 10,000 years for all of us, and we just dropped in, we'll survive. The human race will survive, I promise you.
Yeah, someone will be smart enough to make it work.
Yeah, you just need, well, if you have like a, look at Lost, that was a collection of like fucking 50 people on an island. There are basic, like, even me and Fringy in a forest, there's basic things we know, and then we'll have to do our best to figure some shit out. We might not make it, but the fact that we would even be able to come close means that there are a huge proportion of humans that would be able to.
Absolutely.
My body isn't habitable. If I didn't have my organs, I'd die.
Well, no, see, your body is habitable because there's a constant stream, as long as you have a constant stream of water and food coming into your...
This logic is so much fun. This is what I mean, it's like my first foray into the defense of Zack Snyder's works. Earth isn't habitable. Like, okay.
Mauler, the point is humans use tools. Why is a space dome every different from a house you have? It protects you from the elements. There are places on Earth that are considered uninhabitable, yet humans can live there comfortably. I don't understand what the problem is. Humans make... So, when we say the idea of habitable, if I go to the moon, all of the air is sucked out of my lungs, and I freeze to death instantly. Die. You just die from being in this location.
This is very different from Fringy being in a forest, where he's alive, at least for 3 days.
And you know, the argument would be, well, Antarctica is uninhabitable. It's like, yeah, but...
But should we decide how much of Earth Antarctica is?
Yeah. Well, I guess the logic would be, well, only about 20% of Earth is habitable because of all the desert and stuff. It's like, and ocean.
Oh, so it's habitable?
Yeah, I know. I cannot believe, like, that we are having this conversation about what habitability means when we talk about planets. This is ridiculous.
I like as well, humans are only able to do this because of tools. It's like, what do you think humans did before tools? They were just dead?
Yeah.
You know, tools are an evolutionary part of our, like, existence.
Tools are a very important thing that we make. I can't believe that you're honestly trying to say that, like, that Mars is just as habitable as Earth because we would need to have a dome, and because if you get really cold on Earth, you die. Like,
all of the animals on Earth that don't use tools, it's like, how are they alive? How is this happening?
How is it that... So, I think here's the fundamental thing. Human beings could not have evolved to exist on Mars. They would have... They would... I can't...
They'd be like every other form of life on Mars, fucking dead.
I'm struggling here.
The wonders of the internet. That's the thing, if you drop any of us naked in a forest, there is a chance we could live. Do that on Mars. Nah.
Well, yeah, it's just said, you die instantly on Mars. If I'm naked in a forest, I might be able to survive. I think the fundamental thing about habitability is, can I exist in this location and not die instantly? That's what we mean about habitability. Like, if you teleport me to Antarctica at 77 degrees, I'm still going to be alive for a little bit. Not very long, but a little bit. Whereas on Mars, it's like... I'm dead as soon as the air runs out of my lungs. Like, that's it.
He just said to the next thing, why do you guys have to twist my words?
What? read exactly what you're saying in response to
I'm
it.
just supposed to Mauler feels. That's my existence on this stream right now. Why must you twist my words? Use better words.
God, I forgot to save this VOD, but I'm downloading. This is coming in my highlights video eventually.
No twisting required. Yeah.
These are just ridiculous statements.
I like we've gotten to that point as well. Someone establishes something is true, and you're just like, what if they meant something completely different?
Oh.
Like, well, you know what? Maybe.
Maybe you need to use better words.
You know when Homelander said you're not even in the top 20? What if he meant top 20 miles per hour?
What if he meant you're not in the
hour?
top 20 chess players?
Yeah. What if he was talking about A-Train's popularity as a soup? It wasn't even in the top 20 anymore. He wasn't talking about speed, even though he said it right after saying you can't even crack the top 20 in relation to his speed. If you interpret it, it could mean something else.
Somebody's saying if you can terraform a planet, you could probably just make a dome in space that's self-sufficient. It's like, yeah, that's actually a good point. If you have the technology
Fucking
to terraform a planet, that's... I mean, honestly,
just, like,
if you have that capacity, you are very closely reaching the point of post-scarcity.
They had to have that conversation in that movie where one of his men goes, do we need to terraform the planet? And then one of them goes, you know, the babies, the codex or whatever, they cannot be, I don't know, brought to maturity in any way, shape, or form without a Kryptonian atmosphere or some shit like that.
You needed that, yeah.
You needed that in the film, and they didn't fucking have it.
Well, because they didn't think about it this much.
Well, yeah, because Zod is a shitty villain. I'm sorry. He could have been good, but instead he's just like, you know what? We got to terraform Earth, even though we could totally live
Remember,
here.
guys,
Oh no,
there is a line in this film when he says that Superman has taken his soul from him. He says,
"What is it with DC movie villains?"
I
say that Ant-Man and the Wasp has still got this. No, sorry, Ant-Man. But the thing is, Yellow Jacket was going insane. That's the excuse they have.
I'm gonna disintegrate you.
I'm going to kill everyone you love.
Oh, I love those types of lines.
Excellent villain dialogue. I can see them writing it being like, well, you need to let the audience know that they're evil.
We need to let the audience know that he's evil. That's the justification for that line.
Meanwhile, Zemo says, I told them not to worry. My son, he could see the Iron Man from the street or
From
whatever.
the car window.
Pause. And then it took me 2 days to find their bodies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Fucking powerful, man.
And the Avengers, they went home. I knew I couldn't kill them. More powerful men than me have tried. But if I could get them to kill each other... I'm sorry about your father. He seemed a good man. Oh, he's such a great villain. I love that line. And the Avengers, they went home. It's such a great line.
Says it, it's a combo of, like... it's like a melancholy. Like, well, I mean, of course they did.
Yeah.
Because they don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe a sense of, like, why would they care, really?
Yeah. And the Avengers, they went home. Yeah. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Someone needed to be like, bro, it wasn't a box of scraps.
Fine, let me spell it out to you one last time. Is Antarctica habitable without skills and tools? No, you'll freeze to death in a few minutes. If you do, you can look at the Inuits. A planet like Mars is not inhabitable with our current technology. Much like Antarctica, a planet may be habitable with enough tech resources. What doesn't make sense about this? Well, because Earth is habitable. You said Earth isn't habitable. That's much different from Antarctica isn't habitable.
About this. You're establishing that there is nothing on Mars that is habitable, while there is one certain sections of Earth that are uninhabitable. They're the same. It's like, what?
And
How
of
did you figure
course,
this out?
there is a big distinction because on Mars I can't breathe, whereas in Antarctica
There is
I
life
can
on
breathe.
Earth. There is not life on Mars.
There is life in Antarctica. There is
Yeah.
life in like the Himalayas. There is life in these inhospitable places.
There's
There is
life
no...
close to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Yeah, there is no life on Mars. It is not a place where things can live.
It is not
And again,
inhabitable.
you're moving the goalpost. You said Earth was uninhabitable, not Antarctica. You said that if we were dropped into a forest or something, we wouldn't do well. Unless maybe...
you've changed your argument now, buddy. Don't think we didn't notice that shit. By the way, what you're doing is done for TLJ all the time. Like the contradiction of Luke's character. It's like, what if in between the time we've seen him, all of the things that would have happened to have justified it happened? It's like, sorry the dialogue wasn't fucking good enough to explain what you think could explain it, because that's not how they wrote it. What if Holdo had a scientist on board that was the progeny of the world, and he had crafted a hyperdrive specific drive that made it possible for the hyperdrive kamikaze, but he had to die with the ship because it was a really hyper-specific set of mechanics, and he couldn't share it with anybody because of the rush time. He cracked the fucking invention seconds before she actually used it. She spoke to him. He was right in the other room. They cut the scene for time and pacing, obviously. But it was incredible, and it made loads of sense, and it can never be replicated.
The point is that uninhabitability or habitability for humans changes from place to place, people to people, tech to tech. No. That's not what people mean
No,
when they
just
say habitability.
Life. Just life.
I can't believe... Am I gonna have to, like, just get a definition for you?
Hey, put a polar bear on Mars. Let's see if that works out. I mean, if he can survive Antarctica.
I just...
What about some penguins?
That's your human
There's
privilege
some penguins on
coming out.
Venus. See how that goes.
And again, that's an important distinction. For as inhospitable as Antarctica is, it's more hospitable than Mars. There are people...
You guys shifted the goalpost from Kryptonians to life. Who gives a crap about bacteria? Motherfucker, why do you think it helps you to change the criteria from Kryptonians to life? Like, it wouldn't help you. That's like the whole point. Nothing can survive there. And you're like, yeah? Well, Kryptonians might be able to.
What?
That doesn't help you, that helps us.
And again, I'd like to draw back that your argument against us was that we pointed out that Jor-El said that there were habitable planets and that they could evacuate to. And your argument was, well, they could be habitable through tech, but, you know, they need the support of Krypton. No matter how you cut it, this is a plot hole in this film.
And he defines them entirely dissimilar from the Outposts, which you've already
Yes.
argued. Oh, the Outposts died because they needed Krypton.
There is nowhere that you win this, is basically the point that's being made.
Well, doesn't mean they'll stop. It's like TASM 2.
I hope you're trolling. Nexus said this guy's trolling. I hope you are.
Who cares about bacteria? Like, if bacteria can't survive in the environment,
That we can't.
that doesn't mean Kryptonians can't. It's like, what even are you arguing right now?
You do realize that single-cell organisms were the dominant life form on Earth for, like, billions of years, right? You don't get multicellular organisms without single-cell organisms. You don't jump from one to...
Also, if we had the capacity to not terraform Mars, but to create a dome throughout all of it, and just have a supply pipe from Earth to Mars, I don't think we'd be calling Mars inhabitable. It's like, it still isn't. It's just an umbilical cord. Like, it can't do anything for us. It's just this big thing that we've created on it. Like, in the meaningful sense of the word, it wouldn't mean that.
This is too funny to not be in the efap law. No, this is to be a this is Fringy law. All right.
Fringy law, yeah.
Yeah, you just said we can make it Fringy law. You can make it. I've seen that now people are saying maybe he means like hospitable, and it's like, well, hospitable is a different thing. Like hostile, but again, none of this helps you. Notice how we can make things habitable. That's not. Just because you can live in a dome on Mars does not mean that Mars is a habitable...
Yeah, at that point the dome is habitable.
It's not a habitable planet. The dome is habitable.
But when you terraform a planet, well, that planet is now habitable.
Yes. God damn. This feels like that debate I had with a guy where he's like, a PC isn't a console. It's like, what is this conversation? Oh, no, a PC is a console.
Also, if you're talking about domes and bullshit like that, then nothing is uninhabitable.
Yeah, space is not uninhabitable. Because you could just put a station in it.
So this distinction is worthless. Like, why would Jor-El say, hey, there are some places that are habitable?
All
if
places
your argument
are habitable.
is you could have just been talking about making domes.
Yeah, I like the idea that space is habitable because the International Space Station exists. The sun is habitable because, I don't know, maybe in the future we'll put a station around it.
Could Mars be made habitable in our lifetime? It could be possible, at least to some degree, with novel system involving aerogel. Read it and weep. The fuck do you think that proves for you?
I can't take it.
Read it and weep, lads. Earth isn't habitable.
You said that Earth isn't habitable. You keep trying to run away from that.
You can't escape your own words. They're gonna chase you to the grave.
You couldn't live with your own failure, so where did that bring you back to me?
Read it and weep.
Like that's a gotcha.
You know, the planet they're on in Alien, they have to wear the suits, and then in Aliens, it's been terraformed, and so they're on it. I like the idea that fucking
while they're
Dallas
in their
is
suits, it was habitable.
being like, "This is habitable."
While you're in your suit, it's habitable. I can breathe here. The tech makes it habitable.
What is the fucking point of that definition? But I mean, you do have to go to this level if you want to defend the Snyder movies.
I said barely habitable. First, a hyperbole. Perhaps not that untrue, considering most people would die if forced to live. Now you're going back to your old argument.
What that word means.
Now you're going back to the original argument, which is that
Well, he's softened it, but he's doing the thing. If I say, like, you know, Fringy, you don't actually exist, and you go, what? And I go, well, I meant like the sort of construction that is you, like the social perception that is you. Like, okay, so the first thing you said is not the second thing you said. Also, the second thing you said is still bullshit.
Barely habitable is still hilarious and wrong. The fact that
it seems to me that he's talking strictly in reference to humans, which I thought we already went over.
I do like the idea that habitability varies depending on how well an individual understands how to live off the land, and not based on our capability to do so. A capability which species, we know we have because we exist. We came to exist on this planet without computers or electricity or running water. Somehow we made it work.
Most people would die forced to live.
If I break your arms and legs and leave you in the middle of your house, does that mean your house is uninhabitable because you can't do anything?
These are just some really fun definitions. Wipe out all of humanity. Earth is no longer habitable. It's like, what about all the animals? It's like, nope. Like
Wasn't-
habitable,
wasn't-
suitable or good enough to live in, and then
What-
it's got an asterisk, and you click it, and it says also only really though if you have a spaceship and a dome. Like that includes in the definition. Just saying.
Wasn't Jor-El discussing migrating the entire population to habitable planets? Yeah, that's why this
Yep,
is
and
also funny.
Entirely dissimilar from the outposts they have established, and those are supposed to be dependent on Krypton.
And apparently the article was about terraforming, not creating habitable domes.
So yeah.
So it's about making the planet as a whole a place that humans can live in without the need for technology.
Well, you know, when Batman kills the creature at the beginning of BVS, and it marks out a fucking description of the mother cubes or whatever.
Yes, I remember that.
So we would point out, like, that is incredibly retarded, and it's also extremely lucky that that happened that way. And he'd be like, is it really retarded, though? What if one of those creatures, they were part of a cult that inscribes the cubes on their back, and on death, it displays them as a mark of fear. Like, you should fear us because we worship the mother boxes. That makes sense. Just like, where did you get all of this?
Just give up. It's over. You tried and it didn't work out. This argument is over.
In some ways, the sun is habitable if you have, like,
a suit that enables
just...
you to walk on it or something. Live within it. Try so hard, got so far. Bad. That's...
I think the key information is the dome is habitable, the planet is not.
Yep. I can live on the sun for 0.02 seconds. It's partially habitable.
Partially?
I like the idea of partially habitable. It's like, what do you mean partially?
Like, life could exist there, it's just not very long.
Not for very long. The whole universe is...
fully habitable for 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. Until you burn. Until you start burning, it's fire...
There's just this astronaut who's floating in space because he got blown off his space station. And he's got like a phone call to this guy, and this Twitch chat is like, but space is habitable, right? And the guy's like, I don't know that I agree with that statement. I'll just be honest with you.
Man, that is a good meme.
It doesn't feel habitable.
Yeah, it'll work out fine. Like, basically, if I wake up, 8-ish hours from now, it'll all... I'm not reading your big thing about habitability. I'm done with this conversation. But you got any other questions, feel free to send them through. But yeah, we're watching Batwoman tomorrow, so that's going to be super fun.
Oh yeah.
But
is Australia habitable? No.
No, it's not. Well, it's habitable until you are killed by an emu. Then it no longer becomes habitable. That's how habitability works. It's habitable until you're dead, then it's not.
That's an excellent definition.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with that, can you?
Imagine like someone's category as habitable is only like a thumbs up or thumbs down based on whether there's a living human on that planet currently. As soon as they die of old age, it's like it's no longer habitable.
Tell us about the time you fought the army of emus, Frongold. I'm saving that for my memoirs on the Great Emu Wars. You'll be getting that soon.
Mm-hmm. As a final thought, by the way, if your argument was that it's only technology that defines whether or not a place is habitable for humans, I would argue then that every single thing in the world is habitable. Just everywhere. It becomes a redundant word.
Yeah, it means nothing anymore at that point. So, super helpful. I'm glad we reached this conclusion.
Oh my god, he agreed. He agreed that the word is redundant, because it does apply to everywhere. Good job, buddy.
It's kind of weird that we built a language that isn't about having redundant words, and then you just decided that one of them is. Boomerangs, but they don't return to you. See, I think that having weird cyberpunk army that has like things that are based on Aboriginal culture is cool, but I also want stuff that's based on like the more broad Australian culture. I'm just trying to think about what that would be. Maybe like the grenades are shaped like beer bottles, and like it explodes beer.
I just want to say, there is a word in the dictionary called uninhabitable. I think this guy needs to contact the people who make the dictionary and tell them that there's no point in that word.
Hey,
Like,
dictionary
it doesn't seem-
people, this word doesn't have any purpose. Everywhere is habitable with the right technology. Or if you're alive. Oh.
You fools.